Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Well, a small cluster of new homes will soon be built in Fairmont Heights, powered solely by the sun. Pepco, Block Energy, and several government agencies have partnered to build 6 neighboring homes at the site of the town's old municipal building. The microgrid community will have rooftop solar on 6 single-family homes, plus a small park. The homes will be available to low and moderate income residents.
The energy will be made here on site and stored here at the homes with batteries, and then using a special control system processed and distributed to all the homes in a way that's shared in an efficient, effective way that benefits everybody, makes energy low cost and clean and reliable.
Microgrids like this at Net Zero started with some design work in our military facilities across the U.S., and now it's coming to the public sector. There's examples in Tampa and some other places, but this is one of the first in this area.
And the community is located in the 700 block of 60th Place in Fairmont Heights. And an old program that gives financial assistance to first-time homebuyers gets revamped. The county's Pathway to Purchase Homebuyer Assistance Program is assisting in the Fairmont Heights project. Under new guidelines, the program now offers up to $25,000 in down payment and closing assistance toward the purchase of a home anywhere in Prince George's County. The properties can be new construction, resales, or foreclosures.
In an environment that has increased interest rates that decrease people's ability to borrow funds. And so we are coming in with $25,000 to assist with down payment assistance. And the way our assistance works is a loan, but it's a 0% interest loan with deferred payments for 10 years. So if you buy your home and you stay as a homeowner for 10 years, the loan is forgiven at the end. So it's a huge assistance in helping people who wouldn't have otherwise been able to purchase their home actually buy it.
And for more information or to apply for the program, you can log on to hcd.mypgc.us. Prince George's bill to increase wages for tip workers fails in committee. After a vigorous challenge by the restaurant industry, the County Council tabled CB 98 late yesterday. The action followed competing rallies by supporters and opponents in Largo. Baltimore City police arrested a teenager and are still looking for another teen in connection with an on-campus shooting at Morgan State University last week. The first suspect is a 17-year-old from the district who was arrested yesterday. He faces attempted murder charges. The second teen is still at large and has been identified as 18-year-old Javon Williams. Now, authorities say the shooting incident on October 3rd stemmed from a dispute between 2 groups. However, the 5 victims were not the intended targets. And law enforcement agencies have stepped up patrols of Jewish businesses and synagogues around the region. While officials say there have been no credible threats, some Hamas sympathizers are calling today a day of rage against the Jewish community. This as fighting continues between Hamas and the Jewish state. An estimated 1,300 people have been killed in Israel, including nearly 30 Americans, since Hamas launched an attack last week. Palestinian officials say about 1,800 have died in Gaza in retaliatory strikes launched by the Israeli military. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. We'll be back in just a moment.
This year, celebrate Vote Early Day
and make your voice heard.
Each year, the amount of people voting early grows.
And in 2023, millions of Americans can vote early.
In person.
By dropping off their ballot.
Or mailing it in. Share your voice in important state and local elections.
Election day is the last day to cast your ballot.
So the question isn't why vote early.
It's why wait. Join the celebration and find out how you can vote early at voteearlyday.org.
Welcome back. Well, a local man will spend more than a decade in prison for strangling the mother of his child. This is Bruce Godfrey. He has to serve at least 16 years of a 25-year prison sentence. Officials say this all stems from an incident in a hotel room at the Gaylord National Harbor back in December of last year. Godfrey assaulted and threatened the victim, Jessica Farley, in the presence of their 6-year-old son. Farley sustained bruises from strangulation, broken blood vessels in her eyes, and scratches.
sometimes our victims don't want to cooperate because they love the person who abused them, or they may even still be afraid of them. And so it's sometimes difficult to pursue those cases if we don't have all of the forensic evidence we need, and we absolutely need their cooperation in order to move forward.
Meantime, the state's attorney's office will host a domestic violence awareness bike ride at Fairwood Community Park. That'll take place on Saturday, October 21st at 8 a.m. Well, Maryland's new interim school superintendent has deep roots in the state. Dr. Carrie Wright says she believes that will help her and give an upper hand in helping move the department forward. Wright's journey began in the Prince George's school system in the 1970s and continued at the University of Maryland. Her last stop was Mississippi, where she retired in the summer of 2022 as the state school superintendent.
Coming back to Maryland was like coming back home. We collect a lot of data, and behind every data point is a face. And you have to know who that face is, because there is no one-size-fits-all strategy for students with disabilities, no one-size-fits-all strategy for African American students, no one-size-fits-all for children in poverty. You have to learn to read in order to love to read. And so, to me, that's the key, is making sure that we are using research-based interventions, research-based strategies with our children.
And Dr. Wright is replacing outgoing Superintendent Mohammed Chowdhury. She starts on October 23rd and will serve the remainder of the current term through June 30th of next year. When the post opens up on July 1st, Wright says that she will apply to stay on the job. A private school in Prince George's is facing legal trouble. The Maryland Attorney General's office has filed suit against Metropolitan Washington High School. The agency says the Laurel School filed fraudulent applications for COVID assistance. It's seeking $140,000 in penalties against the school. And some Latino construction workers in Prince George's say they are being targeted by thieves. According to reports, thieves have been robbing Latino workers at gunpoint, getting away with cash and tools. There are concerns that some victims are not reporting the crimes because of their immigration status. Meantime, some scammers are also targeting workers online through sites like Facebook Marketplace. A new version of a mental health-inspired song called It's Okay to Be Falling comes out just as Hispanic Heritage Month comes to a close this weekend. The Spanish version, Está Bien Estar Cayendo, is a personal mental health anthem by Maya Elizabeth.
Siempre cuando sepas que estás solo y aceptas tu llamada de verdad. Está bien si caes en pedazos, al caer encuentras la paz.
And Hispanic Heritage Month runs from September 15th to October 15th. Still to come, your Friday sports page with Simon Buggs. Stay tuned.
What's up, sports fans? And coming up on your Friday sports page, the manager and general manager of the Baltimore Orioles reflect on the team's season, and also UMD head football coach Mike Loxley talks about the team's upcoming matchup against Illinois. Stay right there.
We live in a country that incarcerates its own people more than any other nation in the world.
The individual can age out of crime. So if you have an emerging adult, 18 years of age, 20 years, now that person is 38, he or she 9 times out of 10 is no longer thinking like he or she once thought when they were 18. This is a good time to have a second look for everyone.
I was sentenced to 24.5 years. There are so many other people that have these tremendously long sentences, and the impact that it has on families, the impact that it has on your own mental health. It's time for our nation to recognize that we actually have human beings that are behind bars who make mistakes.
We have 50 years of data that proves to us emphatically that the old way of doing things no longer works.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, the new moon and the sun will meet tomorrow to create a ring of fire annular solar eclipse. Now, as the sky darkens, interesting events will likely transpire in nature, such as crickets chirping. That's because some animals may think that it's dusk and respond as if night was falling. Arissa Labs Eclipse Soundscapes project invites members of the public to help document these changes.
We're enlisting people all across the country to observe during the eclipse and determine what changes during the eclipse. What changes do they hear? Do they see? Do they feel? Do they feel temperature change? And we're also putting out data recorders all along the path of the eclipse. And these data recorders will record the changes in those sounds that scientists can use to determine how eclipses impact wildlife.
And the program is revisiting a study from 100 years ago which showed that animals and insects are affected by solar eclipses. To learn more about the project, visit eclipsesoundscapes.org.
Okay everyone, it's time for your Friday sports page. We'll start with some MLB news. The Baltimore Orioles are now looking to 2024 after being swept in the playoffs by the Texas Rangers. While the Birds' postseason run was short-lived, Orioles manager Brandon High believes this was a year to remember.
I think guys are very disappointed, but I think they're very aware of what they accomplished this year, and they should. It's really, really hard what we did. And it's really, really hard what we did after losing 110 games 2 years ago. That's unprecedented. And so they need to know that, and they need to understand that. And we came up short of what we expected out of ourselves. But there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to, the guys are going to be back. There's going to be a lot to look forward to because they're really good players.
Now to the world of college football. The Terps will try and avoid back-to-back losses as they take the field versus Illinois tomorrow for homecoming. But it won't be easy as the Terps defense will have their hands full dealing with the Fighting Illinois offense.
Offensively, they've dealt with injuries at the running back position. They've got the Isaiah Williams kid that is a threat every time he touches it. Very similar skill set to number 12 that we faced at Indiana, and then I think number 4 from Virginia. He's that type of football player that we need to know where he is at all times because he is a dangerous threat. We've got big guys on the outside there that have the ability to go up and make the 50-50 plays. For us to win the game, we got to win the P&10 battle and the 1st and 10 battle on defense, which means, we've given up a little too much yardage in the run game on 1st and 10 or the first play of a series, and it's going to be important for us to stop the run.
And lastly, the Washington Capitals will play their first home game of the season tonight at 7:30 against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Washington Commanders will take the field against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And that is your Friday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
And Simon, will have more on the Orioles general manager, Mike Elias. That'll be on Monday. And that is CTV News for now. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great weekend.
We grew up together. We believed in something bigger than ourselves. The military took me to one side of the world and her to the other. And even though she was always the strong one, when we caught up years later, I found out she had fallen on some hard times. It was her call to make, but doing it together made all the difference.
For veterans who are homeless or on the brink of homelessness, call 877-424-3838.